Hello, sports fans, and welcome to a new Thursday edition of Jake's Hot Takes. Big surprise, I'm your host as always, Jake McVey, joined here by Matt Galgano. Matt, how you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, excited for the NBA playoffs and play-in tournament, so I am very excited.
Woohoo! We're finally done with the regular season. It has been such an exciting regular season for these Knicks. A lot of ups and downs, and definitely a lot more downs than I think any of us would care to admit. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, we're the third seed in the East. We had back-to-back 50-win seasons for the first time since, 1995. We're the third seed in the East. We're hosting a playoff series first. They're coming to us first. It's all good. We're going to have a great time in these playoffs. And, and we never have to talk about the regular season again.
Never.
Except for our final game against Brooklyn, because we are going to be talking about that game for a little bit. Now, it was a good night for the Knicks. I mean, 113 to 105. Who can really complain? Matt, you know the standout player. Why don't you talk about him for a little bit?
Landry Shamet had a fantastic game. I think he played well enough, even though against some Nets backups, to earn him some minutes in the playoffs, really. I mean, he had 29 points, 9 for 17 from the field, 7 from 13 from three-point, which is very promising. 7 threes. That's very promising. I'd like to see more looks for him in the playoffs is really what this means for me.
Yeah, definitely. And he deserves it. I mean, he has been the one bench guy that can come off and actually drop a significant scoring performance. I mean, aside from, Deuce and Campaign, who Deuce is pretty consistent, but he doesn't really fit the primary scoring role like Shamet can. Yeah. And Campaign is so inconsistent, and we've had that conversation about him in the past. So I have my issues with Campaign, so I'm very happy to see Landry Shamet stepping up and being that primary option off the bench for scoring. Had a lot of guys see the court. Kevin McCullough Jr. had a pretty all-right performance for 22 minutes, 4 points, 1 of 4 from the field. Just boring. He was boring out there. Next. Margin Beecham got himself 5 minutes and 4 points. He scored as many points as Kevin in 5 minutes as Kevin did in 22 minutes. Beecham is going to be a guy where if the depth chart is really, really hurting, I guess we might see him.
I don't think we will. I hope we don't.
We would need at least 4 or 5 injuries to the guard pool in order to see Beecham hit the court. DeLon Wright is kind of in the same scenario where I pray to God it never gets bad enough that we have to see him on the court. Kolek and Dadier actually got to see the floor too, and Kolek went out there, put up 5, 3, and 4 on one 3-point shot the whole night and 2 free throws. Just an exceedingly boring performance out of pretty much everybody, but it was the last game of the season. Yeah. The starters were benched, and it's against the Nets. So what do you expect?
Something to pay attention to is we have Deuce McBride coming back and leading the Knicks with 8 rebounds for the team. So that's pretty promising to see. He also hit 3 3-pointers on 9 attempts. 4 rebounds. He had a pretty good game, 17 points. Campaign also had a pretty good game, 21 points, 7 rebounds, not far behind Deuce McBride. And he was also decently efficient.
Yeah. And Precious actually had a decent night as well. It was a very inefficient night, but you can't argue with 18 points.
It doesn't really show on the stat sheet, but he had some good plays.
He showed a lot out of that game, and I'm pretty happy with where it went. Not to mention he almost got that double-double. All he just needed was that one more rebound, but he couldn't quite find it there. I'm excited because I think with a core of guys on the bench being Precious, Campaign, Deuce McBride, and Landry Shamet, I think those are the only bench guys that we're going to need in addition to those 4 starters, and Mitchell Robinson. I can't believe I forgot about Mitchell Robinson. But, those 5 guys, I don't necessarily trust them to win games, but I trust them not to lose games.
I definitely agree. I definitely don't think that we should give PJ Tucker any minutes going to the playoffs.
No looks for PJ.
No really looks.
No looks for Beecham. No looks for DeLon Wright. I mean, they're just unproven at this point. You know, they haven't proven to be able to gel well with the other guys on the team, and they haven't overperformed in any circumstance. So, kick them to the curb. Just a few things to talk about as the regular season comes to an end. Jalen Brunson is eligible for Clutch Player of the Year, which he should win.
Yeah, I feel like he should win that.
No debate, no discussion. I will not hear any arguments in favor. I think LeBron is second in the betting odds right now, but it's a pretty big gap between Brunson and LeBron, which, as it should be. And Karl Anthony Towns averaged a double-double for the season. Highest rebounds averaged of his career. So you love to see that out of the big bodega. He definitely pulled his weight in the rebounding department. He was a necessary aspect for a Knicks team that definitely had a little bit of trouble, establishing themselves physically, and especially in the rebound game last season. So pretty happy with that. I'm quite happy with Karl Anthony Towns. I'd say after all of this, after all that, it was a successful trade. It was a successful trade. After all that. So, yeah, you got anything else?
I just really hope that this win against the Nets kind of just reminds Tibbs how good the bench can be when given minutes. And next year going into it, we just need the starters to make it through the playoffs is really what it is.
Yeah, definitely. So now that we're done being all sentimental and all ooey-gooey about our Knicks, it's time to get into the battle. Because this series is going to be a battle, plain and simple. There's really no other way around it. The Detroit Pistons have finished their season with a final record of 44-38. They finished fourth in the division, fourth in the standings as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, fourth in the standings as well. And no.
The Pistons were sixth.
Yeah, they were sixth in the standings. Yeah. I read fourth in Central Division, and I just immediately defaulted to they were fourth in the East. No, they were sixth in the East. Behind the Celtics, Cavs, Knicks, Pacers, Bucks, and then the Pistons. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Got my wires crossed a little bit there. But so they're our first round playoff opponent. They're coming off 2 losses to the Bucks, but that doesn't really matter now because they're not playing the Bucks.
Yeah, I mean, my main takeaway from this game is from this upcoming series is that I think Josh Hart needs to be at his top, and he needs to get back to last year's playoff performance, because if he's playing like he played last year in the playoffs, we win the series instantly. I really believe that. It's because last year we didn't have Karl Anthony Towns, we didn't have McCall Bridges, and in a lot of teams, this Knicks team isn't as good as it was last year, but in a lot of the most important ways, it's better. So I think Josh Hart is really the glue to this team, is really what it is.
Yeah, I completely agree. And Josh Hart has always carried that kind of New York spirit with him. For as long as he's been on the team, he's been a guy that the team kind of relies on to get a lot of the dirty work done. Brunson, as much as I love him, he is kind of a pretty boy in the sense of physically establishing himself. So I think having a guy like Josh Hart, very scrappy defender, good passer, good at rebounding, I think him and Brunson make an excellent complement. And we know that Brunson is going to come into the playoffs and perform very well. It's just what he does. And I'm just hoping that Josh Hart matches that energy a lot,
I mean, last year in the playoffs, Josh Hart averaged a double-double in rebounds and points per game. So the one question area, I think he's going to get those rebounds. Where it really is the points. He has to be efficient when we're giving him shots, when we're giving him minutes and throwing the ball.
Absolutely. And I don't mind if Josh Hart underperforms compared to last season in terms of scoring in the playoffs. I'm fine with that as long as it's on efficient numbers. I don't care if Josh Hart scores 9 points as long as he gets 10 rebounds and only takes 4 shots in the night, That is just the main thing of it, because a lot of the times on those really awful Josh Hart performances, it's the efficiency that gets to him, He can put up 16 points, but only if you let him take 16 shots. And those opportunities are better used on guys that are more reliable and more efficient scorers. McCall Bridges is a very efficient scorer. Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns. I would say even OG Anunoby is a significantly more efficient scorer than Josh Hart. So, again, I'm fine with Josh Hart underperforming this playoff series in terms of scoring, as long as the other things that the team asks for him to do are there, and he's not being a black hole for three-pointers.
Yeah. I think the thing is that what makes it shaky is that Detroit does have the second best player on the court in Cade Cunningham.
They do.
I think. And honestly, I don't think he's that far behind Brunson is really the scary part of it. But the Knicks are better at almost every position than the Pistons. They have a better coach and more experience in the playoffs than this Pistons team does. So honestly, I think I'm pretty comfortable saying that Knicks in 6 for this game series.
Yeah, I think it's going to go as far as Knicks in 7, but I think that this Pistons team, it's almost like their playoff inexperience might end up turning around to be a bit of an advantage for them. Not really... a team that has playoff experience, they are expected to conduct themselves and act a certain way going into the playoffs. The Pistons roster not having any of that experience, we have no idea how these guys are going to react when the pressure is really on. There are guys that rise in those moments of great pressure, and there are guys that fall apart in those moments of great pressure. People knew that, like, when the Nuggets went on their championship run, people knew that Jamal Murray was a good player, but then the playoffs hit, and all of a sudden, boom, snap of the finger, he was next level. So just because a team doesn't have that playoff experience, it doesn't mean that it's impossible for guys to kind of rise like that. I would say a guy that is primed to be like a Jamal Murray sort of situation would be Malik Beasley. I think that he's a talented player, and I think that even in the games that he played against the Knicks, I think he showed a lot, and the pressure doesn't seem to get to him that much. And that is always kind of scary, seeing a guy like that on the opposing team.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think Cade is amazing, but the thing is he hasn't proven anything yet. And Brunson averaged 32 points in the playoffs last year. So I think the Knicks have just proven so much more to this point, and I think every Knicks fan should feel comfortable taking them in this series.
Yeah, no, I'm don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that the Knicks are going to lose this series. I'm just saying that it's a lot closer than you're making it seem right now. This Pistons team is definitely not one that we can overlook. They are a talented squad, and they have crawled themselves out of the mud. Being from New York, you always, by default, you have that attention. You kind of have that glitz and that glory. People automatically kind of respect the New York teams just a little bit more. The Pistons have had none of that. They've had no favors. They've had no grace. Every step that they have taken has been a step that they took themselves. And now they're here, and they're knocking on the door of a big opportunity, a big upset. And I'll tell you what, it's never a comfortable place like sitting up in your Empire State Building while someone's knocking on it with a sledgehammer,
What role do you think Tibbs is going to play in this series?
Hopefully a minimal one. I just am hoping for intelligent roster decisions, because some of the groups that he's put out on the court have gelled horribly together. So I hope that he learned from those opportunities, because putting guys that don't mesh well in together is a phenomenal way to allow a team to either extend a lead or take a lead or crawl back from a big deficit, With the way that Tibbs makes rotations, he takes guys out when they're getting hot. He puts guys in when they probably shouldn't be going in. I'll cite like Karl Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges. Towards the middle of the season, both were very vocal in their complaints. Well, Mikal was, Karl wasn't. I was very vocal for Karl Anthony Towns when Tibbs put him back in that game and towards the middle of the season. So I just hope that Tibbs lets guys cook when they cook and does his best to not get in the way of this team, because this team is talented enough and they are intelligent enough, and Brunson and Towns are both smart leaders on the court enough to facilitate things on their own. I don't think they necessarily need Thibodeau to be a genius play-calling coach. I think this team just needs to go out there and do what they do best.
Yep.
So, Matt, who do you think would be, aside from Cade, obviously, because Cade, everything does run through Cade. Who do you think is the biggest threat on the court besides Cade? Who do you think has the biggest boom or bust potential? Biggest boom
Honestly,
potential, I'll say.
I'm going to say Tobias Harris.
Oh, okay.
Because Tobias Harris has played the Knicks before, back when he was on the Sixers. And he's been playing pretty decent in the role that he's been playing for the Pistons. So I think that's definitely something that they need to look out for, just because of his prior playoff experience against the Knicks. And given it is a new team against the Knicks, we didn't have the players we had last year, but I would say that's another player for.
Oh yeah, definitely. He's coming at us with a vengeance. So when we get back, we're going to be talking about the other playoff matchups. We got the Bucks and the Pacers and the Clippers and the Nuggets. So make sure you stick around for that. We got some awesome hot takes Coming up only on Jake's Hot Takes, only on WGNY 1220 94.5 News Talk Sports. We'll be right back after this.
Thinking about remodeling your kitchen or bath? Wayne's Way Wholesale Cabinets has a great selection of all wood cabinets in the styles and colors to make your remodeling dreams come to life. Go to wayneswaycabinets.com for more info. Wayne's Way Cabinets, 1829 South Road, Wappingers Falls. Call 845-280-0880. Stop by and talk to Wayne today. You'll be glad you did. CDS Auto and Truck Repair is your 5-star one-stop shop for all your vehicle's needs from A to Z, offering full vehicle diagnostics. Towing is available, and they now offer fleet service. CDS Auto and Truck Repair. Call 845-563-9987. That's 845-563-9987. CDS Auto and Truck Repair, 2917 Route 9W, New Windsor.
You've long known that Newburgh Auto Spa on Route 17K utilizes top caliber products and the latest technology to give your vehicle the proper maintenance it needs. Whether it be a computerized soft cloth car wash, detailing consisting of a comprehensive bumper-to-bumper cleaning of your entire interior and exterior, or a fuel-efficient oil change from a trained technician, Newburgh Auto Spa is the place to go. Now, Newburgh Auto Spa is a full-service automotive center. That's right, Newburgh Auto Spa now offers tires, brakes, rotors, tune-ups, alternators, and more, all with the same professionalism and quality you've become accustomed to. For a full list of automotive services offered in specials, go to NewburghAutoSpa.com. Whether you need a basic car wash, a quick oil change, or now more extensive automotive service, Newburgh Auto Spa is the place to go. Newburgh Auto Spa, quick, convenient, clean, located at 86 Route 17K and online at NewburghAutoSpa.com. Now offering a full range of automotive services. Newburgh Auto Spa, quick, convenient, clean.
The Roma Deli, 237 Myers Corners Road, Wappingers Falls, is your neighborhood family-owned and operated deli, offering breakfast, lunch, and catering options. The Roma Deli has brought a little piece of the Bronx to Wappingers, including fresh-made sandwiches, Italian specialties, and desserts, all prepared and cooked in-house with authentic Italian ingredients. Their large menu provides lots of options to personalize your order to your taste. Vegan and vegetarian options available. The Roma Deli, offering catering that is perfect for any party or business function. Go to romadeli1.com or call 845-297-1200.
Michael's Appliances presents Ask Andy, the appliance expert. Andy, what makes my oven smell so bad when I self-clean?
Self-clean, my favorite weapon in the world. Self-cleaning is a brutal environment. Most people don't think about it. They hear self-clean. I'm not really sure if they're picturing scrubbing bubbles inside there, scrubbing, but what's really happening is we're heating the oven up hot enough to carbonize protein. We're going to take the food stuff that's left in your stove, and we're actually going to carbonize it. We're going to turn it to dust. So we're at 700 degrees. So why does it smell bad? You're setting fire to a chicken. Today, a lot of the new stoves, because of the energy guidelines, there is no real self-clean anymore. They don't want those high temperatures. It's a huge waste of energy. It's very easy. You don't have to get on your hands and knees and your back doesn't hurt. You're not scrubbing a stove, but we use a ton of energy to clean the inside of that stove by heating it up.
Shop with the experts. Nobody knows appliances like Michael's Appliance Center, 585 East Main Street, Middletown. Online at michaelsappliance.com.
Welcome back to another segment. We're talking about the basketball playoffs. Matt, have you heard? It's NBA playoff time.
It's coming around. It's here.
Yeah. So our potential playoff opponent, the Milwaukee Bucks, are playing the Indiana Pacers. And this is kind of an exciting matchup, honestly. It's two teams that we do not like, and one of them gets eliminated at the end of it.
True.
So, and, the likelihood, the possibility that we see one of these teams in the Eastern Conference Finals, pretty low, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't still be paying attention to them and making sure we know what's at stake with this series. So, Matt, before we make our predictions, let's talk about the things to keep an eye on for this series. Now, the first thing that I think you need to keep an eye on for Milwaukee is this guy. I don't know if you ever heard of him. Giannis Antetokounmpo. You ever heard of him before?
No, I need some Google Translate for that.
Yeah, might need some Google Translate for that. No, this guy's pretty freaking good at basketball. Giannis is
turns out.
averaging 30 points on the season with 11.9 rebounds on the season.
Yeah.
Giannis has had an absolutely phenomenal year, and if it wasn't for SGA putting up a generational scoring season and Jokic putting up a generational basketball season, Giannis would probably be more in that conversation for MVP because he has quietly had an incredibly dominant season.
Yeah, I mean, there's no other way to put it, but the success of the Bucks in this series lies completely on Giannis' shoulders and the team around him to support Giannis. That's really what it is.
Yeah, and realistically, I don't think that there's anybody on this Pacers team that can actually guard Giannis. Plain and simple.
Maybe Miles Turner, but even then, I think far and away, Giannis is the best player on the court for either team.
Yeah, by far. I would say in the East, Giannis is the best player in the entire playoffs.
Yeah, but the thing is, the team surrounding Giannis just isn't good enough to beat a more well-built-out team like Indy is. You know?
That's the thing, is that, yes, the highs are incredibly high with Giannis, but the roster right now is just definitely not, I mean, the loss of Chris Middleton to a midseason trade, like that definitely hurts a team. And Damian Lillard being hurt. There's a lot of factors that are kind of pushing me to lean a little bit towards the Pacers. But, it's not impossible for this Bucks team to put their things together,
I don't think it's impossible, but I really think they're cooked. I'm gonna say Pacers in 5, honestly.
Wow.
I really think they're cooked. Pacers are one of the better teams. I think the Pacers would give the Knicks a run for their money in a 7-game series because they have a lot of good players. I mean, they have Siakam, they have Miles Turner, they have Tyrese Halliburton, one of the best point guards in the NBA. And outside of Giannis, the Bucks have Kyle Kuzma.
Yeah, they're getting Bobby Portis back though.
Yeah, Bobby Portis has been back
there. So, Bobby being back definitely puts a little bit more faith into this Bucks team. I mean, Bobby has playoff experience. He knows what he's doing out there, and he's a great support piece to Giannis. But, definitely you look at the starting rosters, and it definitely seems like the scales are tipped pretty heavily in Indy's favor, even with, the giant granite statue on the Bucks side of the scale that is Giannis.
Yeah.
It's just that not only is this team full of very individually talented pieces, they work together very well together. I mean, Halliburton and Siakam together are an incredibly lethal duo. Halliburton always manages to find an open Siakam or an open Andrew Nembhard. I mean, Halliburton is just a phenomenal passer, and that's kind of going to be the crux of it. Is the same way that for the Bucks, it's going to depend on Giannis's ability to carry the team and be dominant. For the Pacers, it's going to rely on Tyrese Halliburton's ability to facilitate the offense. Even though he's had a very quiet season and people have been kind of dissing him, he has been important to the Pacers' previous playoff runs and their surprising playoff success. And regardless of, how corny he is or, whatever you want to say in terms of his scoring numbers, he is important to that. And I'm not going to hear any more Tyrese Halliburton disrespect.
The thing I just want to point to is that for Bucks fans, it must be very tragic that there has not been an instance where Giannis and Dame have been on the same playoff court yet. I mean, last year, Dame was healthy for the playoffs and Giannis wasn't. This year, Giannis is healthy for the playoffs and Dame isn't. So it's very frustrating, and it feels like this almost might be the last year of that duo. So it's definitely very frustrating for Bucks fans. But even though Giannis is the best player on the court by far, I don't think the team or the coach that Giannis has is even going to be able to compete with this Pacers team. Yeah,
and with a combination of trade rumors and Giannis himself seeming to be a little bit displeased with the recent Milwaukee management, I would be terrified as a Bucks fan that this could possibly be the last time that they see Giannis on the court for wearing a Bucks jersey. And even though I do think the Pacers are going to come out with this one, I could not imagine the feeling that Bucks fans probably get knowing that if they get eliminated early and they get eliminated bad to this Pacers team, there is that possibility.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think it's going to happen 100% unless some things change, but the door definitely opens up for Giannis's exit from Milwaukee a little more. And with the recent moving of Luka and Anthony Davis, nobody is safe in terms of trades. That has become clear now more than ever.
I think my official prediction for this series is in game 1, Giannis is going to go for like 50 points and the Bucks are going to win, and everyone's going to be like, "Oh wow, Giannis has got it. They're going to win this," and they're just going to get swept from there. That's what I think is going to happen, because that's just how the Bucks season have been going.
Yeah, I mean they seem to lose in spite of Giannis as opposed to because of him. You know, that guy really does just go out there and do whatever he can to get it done, but to no avail. So yeah, I think I'm going to agree with you. How many games do you think this series is going to go?
5.
You think it's going to be 5?
I think Pacers in 5.
All right, I'm going to go Pacers in 6. I'm going to have a little more faith in that Milwaukee roster than that. Pivoting now to the LA Clippers and the Denver Nuggets. Now, this is going to be a bloodbath out in the West. This might be the series that I'm the most excited for. I don't know. There's one other series out West that I'm excited for, but this one is kind of taking the cake for me right now. Matt, what are your early thoughts about how this series is going to play out?
Well, this series has some of the best players of the generation. There's no doubt. I mean, there's Jokic, Russell Westbrook on one side, and you got James Harden, Kawhi Leonard on the other side.
Yeah, Mo Bamba too for the Clippers.
Yeah, a lot of history.
A lot of history
in this series. So it's very exciting. But at the end of the day, I trust Jokic. I think he is still by far the best player in the world. He's having a historic offensive season. He's playing great. Jamal Murray can maybe get to his playoff self. He's not really playing his best basketball of his career. But I think Russell Westbrook will get his revenge game, and they will take the series against the Clippers. I think in 7. I don't think it's going to be a complete wash, but I think the Nuggets have the best player on the court. They're just the better team than the Clippers all around.
The thing is, I totally agree with you that they have the best player on the court. Nikola Jokic, you put him on any basketball court in the world, and he's the best player on the court, plain and simple. But that being said, this team has put its reliance into Jokic so badly. And granted, I understand why they have. The dude is practically unguardable in every sense of the word. No matter what you do, you can't stop him. That being said, there are ways to outscore Jokic because he's a single man, you know? Even if he goes out there and he drops 40, he's still relying on his teammates to play the game. It's not like Jokic by himself can carry the team to these wins. So I think instead of trying to really shut down Jokic in the scoring department, the Clippers are going to be looking to shut down Jokic in the everything else department. They're going to want to shut down his rebound production. They're going to want to shut down his passing abilities. Granted, these abilities that he has are insane, especially his passing ability. You see some of the passes that Jokic can make. They are absolutely absurd. But this team has a lot of sneaky, really scrappy defenders. James Harden has been playing a surprising amount of defense ever since he got to LA. Of course, Kawhi Leonard, one of the best two-way players that we've ever seen in the game. And granted, he's old, but he still has that experience, that understanding. He knows how NBA offenses work. And I'm sure he's done his due diligence in studying Jokic and understanding the kind of offense that he's going to want to facilitate. A guy even like Ivica Zubac can get out there and actually lay some body on Jokic, you know, get up in his face and play aggressive. They're very similarly built guys. So and Zubac is a good defender. So these are all guys that I think will successfully disrupt Jokic's rhythm. And then once Jokic's rhythm is kind of disrupted, once the Nuggets team is kind of realizing that they're not going to be able to rely on Jokic to facilitate, only to score, that is when you're going to have to put the ball in the hands of a guy like Jamal Murray or a guy like Christian Braun or, God forbid, a guy like Russell Westbrook. And we know for a fact that you cannot trust those guys to primarily facilitate an offense, plain and simple.
I mean, I kind of completely disagree with that because there are other guys other than Jokic that bring the physicality, like Aaron Gordon. I mean, that guy's huge. Aaron Gordon is huge. Michael Porter Jr. has some. He's a good shooter. Christian Braun is a good shooter. Jamal Murray is a good shooter when he wants to be. And they got Russell Westbrook coming off the bench, who's a good defender. And I think he's going to lock up James Harden in this series. Personally, I think Westbrook is going to lock up Harden. There's a bit of bad blood there.
There definitely is. There definitely is.
I think the Nuggets, even though they don't have their coach, I think this is a great opportunity for Jokic to take the reins and facilitate an offense by himself. I don't think it's going to be easy. Like I said, this game is going to go to 7 games. I really do think that. But this team is not the Timberwolves from last year. They don't have a guy like Rudy Gobert on the inside who is going to completely shut down the rim and completely protect it like that. Even though Zubac is a very good player, I don't think he's anything like. No, he's not like Gobert.
Yeah, he's not the defender that Gobert is.
I don't think Kawhi Leonard or James Harden at this point can be physical like Anthony Edwards is.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we're just going to have to see. I am interested to see how the Clippers actually manage to play this out. But I'm going to take Clippers in 7. Matt's got Nuggets in 7. When we get back, we are going to be talking about the Timberwolves and the Lakers, and then we're talking about a little Phoenix Suns drama, so make sure you stick around for that right here on Jake's Hot Takes, only on WGNY 1220 94.5 News Talk Sports. We'll be right back.
Thinking about remodeling your kitchen or bath? Wayne's Way Wholesale Cabinets has a great selection of all wood cabinets in the styles and colors to make your remodeling dreams come to life. Go to WaynesWayCabinets.com for more info. Wayne's Way Cabinets, 1829 South Road, Wappingers Falls. Call 845-280-0880. Stop by and talk to Wayne today. You'll be glad you did. CDS Auto and Truck Repair is your 5-star one-stop shop for all your vehicle's needs from A to Z, offering full vehicle diagnostics. Towing is available, and they now offer fleet service. CDS Auto and Truck Repair. Call 845-563-9987. That's 845-563-9987. CDS Auto and Truck Repair, 2917 Route 9W, New Windsor.
You've long known that Newburgh Auto Spa on Route 17K utilizes top caliber products and the latest technology to give your vehicle the proper maintenance it needs. Whether it be a computerized soft cloth car wash, detailing consisting of a comprehensive bumper-to-bumper cleaning of your entire interior and exterior, or a fuel-efficient oil change from a trained technician, Newburgh Auto Spa is the place to go. Now, Newburgh Auto Spa is a full-service automotive center. That's right, Newburgh Auto Spa now offers tires, brakes, rotors, tune-ups, alternators, and more, all with the same professionalism and quality you've become accustomed to. For a full list of automotive services offered in specials, go to NewburghAutoSpa.com. Whether you need a basic car wash, a quick oil change, or now more extensive automotive service, Newburgh Auto Spa is the place to go. Newburgh Auto Spa, quick, convenient, clean, located at 86 Route 17K and online at NewburghAutoSpa.com. Now offering a full range of automotive services. Newburgh Auto Spa, quick, convenient, clean.
The Roma Deli, 237 Myers Corners Road, Wappingers Falls, is your neighborhood family-owned and operated deli, offering breakfast, lunch, and catering options. The Roma Deli has brought a little piece of the Bronx to Wappingers, including fresh-made sandwiches, Italian specialties, and desserts, all prepared and cooked in-house with authentic Italian ingredients. Their large menu provides lots of options to personalize your order to your taste. Vegan and vegetarian options available. The Roma Deli, offering catering that is perfect for any party or business function. Go to RomaDeli1.com or call 845-297-1200.
Michael's Appliances presents Ask Andy, the appliance expert. Andy, what makes my oven smell so bad when I self-clean?
Self-clean, my favorite weapon in the world. Self-cleaning is a brutal environment. Most people don't think about it. They hear self-clean. I'm not really sure if they're picturing scrubbing bubbles inside there, but what's really happening is we're heating the oven up hot enough to carbonize protein. We're going to take the food stuff that's left in your stove, and we're actually going to carbonize it. We're going to turn it to dust. So we're at 700 degrees. So why does it smell bad? You're setting fire to a chicken. Today, a lot of the new stoves, because of the energy guidelines, there is no real self-clean clean anymore. They don't want those high temperatures. It's a huge waste of energy. It's very easy. You don't have to get on your hands and knees and your back doesn't hurt. You're not scrubbing the stove, but we use a ton of energy to clean the inside of that stove by heating it up.
Shop with the experts. Nobody knows appliances like Michael's Appliance Center, 585 East Main Street, Middletown. Online at michaelsappliance.com.
Welcome back to Jake's Hot Takes. We have one more major playoff matchup that we want to talk about here today, and that is, of course, the LA Lakers versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. This is going to be another fun one. The Timberwolves are nothing but pure lightning in the playoffs. They are one of my favorite teams.
It's really what it feels like. I mean, Anthony Edwards is an instant playoff riser.
Yeah.
Rudy Gobert, still a great player.
I'm a Rudy
contrary
Gobert
to what
defender.
people think, he is a good basketball player.
I'm a Rudy Gobert defender. I appreciate defense. People talk about, the game has no defense anymore. And then when Rudy Gobert goes out there and plays defense and he gets dunked on, because of course he does, he contests every single shot near the rim and every single dunk.
Yeah.
So of course he gets dunked on. People talk about him like he's a bum. God, put some respect on Rudy Gobert.
I always laugh about how last year in the playoffs versus the Nuggets, Gobert hit like a fadeaway post 3, and it was like insane. And that's like no one ever expected that. And when you're playing the Timberwolves and Gobert hits something like that, you just gotta accept the loss, because that's just kind of crazy.
So demoralizing.
Yeah.
Gobert hitting like a Kobe turnaround fadeaway. It's brutal.
But they are facing the King, his knight in Luka Doncic,
his knight
the
in
Prince,
shining armor.
Bronny,
and the Jester,
Austin Reeves, and the High Court in the refs. So that's who they're playing in this series. Who do you think they're going to? Who do you think is going to win?
Okay, so there's a lot to take in with this one because it is Luka's first time ever going into a playoff environment that isn't in when he isn't in a Dallas Mavericks uniform, but
he's with LeBron James.
Yeah, and I mean these two guys are LeBron is one of the greatest playoff risers we've ever seen, and Luka in his quick time in the NBA has already proven that he is also one of the greatest playoff risers. So I see no reason why this dominant duo shouldn't get more dominant as the lights get brighter. There's pretty much nothing to suggest throughout the regular season that LeBron and Luka can't make it work together when the going gets tough. So in this playoff situation, I think containing Luka and LeBron is going to be tantamount, but that is easier said than done because that is a very tall ask for this Timberwolves defense.
My thing is, yes, the Lakers shooting talent in LeBron and in Luka and in Austin Reeves even, I think is great. But who is tall enough and physical enough on the inside to defend Gobert on this Lakers team?
Nobody.
No one is.
Nobody.
So that's one of the biggest mismatches in the entire series right there.
Yeah.
Is Gobert's defensive prowess and his size in the inside of the court.
Yeah, the Lakers are going to have to play out of the three-point line and out of the mid-range.
Yeah.
And that's not easy considering that Jaden McDaniels will also be on the court, and he is a phenomenal perimeter defender. And he has proven in the past before that he can shut down guys like Austin Reeves, and I'm sure guys like, Hachimura and guys that they would be relying on to, generate some offense in those moments. I mean, obviously Luka is a completely different situation. I don't think anybody expects anyone, especially Jaden McDaniels, to, lock up Luka. But those complementary pieces, McDaniels will eat them alive.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think this is going to come down to? Who's going to win how many games?
Here's the thing. Part of me wants to look at it logically, right? Part of me wants to say that there is an entire, very important section of the court that the Lakers are barely going to be playing out of, and that's just by nature of Rudy Gobert and the defensive aura. I'll say it, aura that he brings. It's big, and it's really important, and people don't seem to be talking about it. People talk about Gobert like he's a non-factor, and that just comes down to the Gobert disrespect, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But regardless of how you want to look at it, Julius Randle is another guy that can actually get down and defend the paint. And this is his first time playing in a playoff series for the Timberwolves. So he's going to want to go out there and prove something. He had a rocky start in Minnesota, and the fans did not necessarily like him all that much. So I'm sure he's going to be taking this opportunity to play his heart out and really, get some dirt under his nails and get some stuff done. So that combination of Gobert and Randle defensively, I just don't know if the Lakers have the size to beat it. But at the same time, I just think to myself, it's Luka and LeBron.
Yeah, I think that's what the entire argument comes down to, because, I mean, you look at April 13th versus the Jazz. Gobert had 18 rebounds in that game, and Randle had 10 rebounds in that game. That's double-digit rebounds for both of them.
Yeah.
That's an insane amount of production in that area of the court. And they also have Dante DiVincenzo, who's a Knicks legend, who's a good shooter, good role player.
We miss you, Donnie.
But at the end of the day, I just can't see a world where this Lakers team that has LeBron, that has Luka, that has Bronny James goes out in the first round of the playoffs. I really can't see it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. And we did this entire segment without even mentioning Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
He is such a huge piece, not only in the physicals of it. I mean, he's an insane athlete, and he's an incredible basketball player.
Yeah.
He's a playoff riser, and he is a psychological weapon, dude. We have seen Anthony Edwards get at guys psychologically in a way that not a lot of other players really have. Maybe it's just a combination of his confidence and his play style and his ability to play, but man, I am honestly, I know I said that Clippers and Nuggets was the series I'm most excited for. I think this is the series that I'm most excited for, actually. I'm all giddy. You can hear it in my voice. I'm like a little kid in a candy store right now. This series is going to be amazing, but I think ultimately I'm going to go with my heart instead of my brain and say Lakers in 7.
Yeah, I think I'm going to say Lakers in 7 too. I just can't see it in a world where this team goes out in the first round.
Yeah, Bron's not going out sad like that. Bron's not going out sad like that. So now that we've gotten through all of the playoffs matchups, all the exciting, fun things that are happening, now it's time to eat some veggies, all right? We've been feeding you the desserts all day. We got to talk about the Suns now.
Yes.
The Suns fire their head coach, Mike Budenholzer, and it was probably the right move. They just got done with a pretty underwhelming and pretty awful season, finishing 11th in the West, not even getting a play-in look.
Nope.
And from what it seems like, they needed a change. And it seems like the team agrees with me.
And it also seems like more changes are coming, and it just has to be this way. I mean, only a short 4 years after making the finals, they've now had 3 different coaches, 3 years in a row, having disappointing year after disappointing year. And what I really think this is they built this team the wrong way. I mean, a couple years ago, you had them making the finals with guys like Chris Paul and Devin Booker, who's been there still to this day, and Mikal Bridges. And then you have them trade Mikal Bridges for Kevin Durant, and then you have them let Chris Paul go, trade Chris Paul, and then they bring Bradley Beal in, and then this is our big 3: Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, all big ball demanding guys. Their production is completely related to how much time the ball is in their hands, and it just didn't work out. Bradley Beal, I think it's probably one of the worst signings in modern NBA history.
Oh yeah,
really, what it is.
It might be the worst. I mean, a 5-year, $250 million deal with a no trade clause, so there is no way you can get out of it if Bradley Beal underperforms. Which you can make the argument that Beal has been performing pretty much as well as he can in this offense, but I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the case
really
at all.
don't either.
I think Beal has been underperforming these last couple of years in Phoenix, especially with guys like Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, who have seemed just to be able to still play basketball just fine, As bad as the surrounding pieces are, because the Suns don't really have the money to go and sign quality depth pieces, Devin Booker and Kevin Durant have still both looked like their old selves, They've both looked phenomenal.
It just seems like there's something missing from this Suns team. And it's a culture. Their culture has gone out the window. And this Bradley Beal signing has really sunk the team. I mean, he went from averaging over 30 points a game with Washington the year that they went to the finals to now this year averaging 17 points a game, almost halving his points per game in the second year of his contract. So that's really just tanked the team. And it really just means that they forced this build. It doesn't work, and they've tried to buy a championship, and it hasn't gone the way that they've expected it to go.
Yeah, most certainly. And wow, I can't say his name. Budenholzer also just seemed to be a really poor fit for the team, and especially a really poor fit for Bradley Beal himself. Matt, did you hear about this story about how Budenholzer told Bradley Beal that he should be playing more like Drew Holiday?
Yeah, I bet that went over real well.
Yeah, I bet that went over really well. This is being reported by NESN. Quote, Holiday is a guy who might become a Hall of Famer, but you got to understand, you're talking to a guy of Bradley Beal's caliber. Tell him to play like Drew Holiday, it wasn't well received. I think that pretty much sums it up about as well as possible. I mean, the fact that they even waited until the end of the season to fire this guy is pretty baffling, especially considering, you know, the firings that the Nuggets and the Grizzlies went through not too long ago before the end of the season. And these are teams that are still playing, you know? So just an odd situation, and I mean the Suns are going to be terrible for the foreseeable future. This Bradley Beal contract has sunk them completely in the dirt. We have about a minute left. Do you have any predictions for where KD is going next season?
KD?
Yeah.
I don't have any predictions, but there is a possibility he stays in Phoenix, but I want to see him go to the Houston Rockets.
Oh, that would be exciting.
I think that would be a great place for him to go. That would be
exciting. Yeah, that would be fun. And they definitely have the cap space to make that happen. But and you know, it's a young, exciting team. I think the Orlando Magic would be a really fun one, in my opinion. Another really young team that could, you know, benefit a lot from a veteran presence.
The Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yeah, maybe. We could see a KD. No, we're never seeing a KD homecoming.
They hate him.
Yeah, they hate him. They still hate him.
They should.
But they should. Yeah, you're right. But anyway, when we get back, we're going to be talking about a little college football discussion. There's this weird situation with, let me try and get this, Nico Iamaleava. So make sure you stick around. We'll be talking about that on Jake's Hot Takes, only on WGNY 1220 94.5 News Talk Sports. We'll be right back.
Thinking about remodeling your kitchen or bath? Wayne's Way Wholesale Cabinets has a great selection of all-wood cabinets in the styles and colors to make your remodeling dreams come to life. Go to WaynesWayCabinets.com for more info. Wayne's Way Cabinets, 1829 South Road, Wappingers Falls. Call 845-280-0880. Stop by and talk to Wayne today. You'll be glad you did. CDS Auto and Truck Repair is your 5-star one-stop shop for all your vehicle's needs from A to Z, offering full vehicle diagnostic. Towing is available, and they now offer fleet service. CDS Auto and Truck Repair. Call 845-563-9987. That's 845-563-9987. CDS Auto and Truck Repair, 2917 Route 9W, New Windsor.
You've long known that Newburgh Auto Spa on Route 17K utilizes top caliber products and the latest technology to give your vehicle the proper maintenance it needs. Whether it be a computerized soft cloth car wash, detailing consisting of a comprehensive bumper-to-bumper cleaning of your entire interior and exterior, or a fuel-efficient oil change from a trained technician, Newburgh Auto Spa is the place to go. Now, Newburgh Auto Spa is a full-service automotive center. That's right, Newburgh Auto Spa now offers tires, brakes, rotors, tune-ups, alternators, and more, all with the same professionalism and quality you've become accustomed to. For a full list of automotive services offered in specials, go to NewburghAutoSpa.com. Whether you need a basic car wash, a quick oil change, or now more extensive automotive service, Newburgh Auto Spa is the place to go. Newburgh Auto Spa, quick, convenient, clean, located at 86 Route 17K and online at NewburghAutoSpa.com. Now offering a full range of automotive services. Newburgh Auto Spa, quick, convenient, clean.
The Roma Deli, 237 Myers Corners Road, Wappingers Falls, is your neighborhood family-owned and operated deli, offering breakfast, lunch, and catering options. The Roma Deli has brought a little piece of the Bronx to Wappingers, including fresh-made sandwiches, Italian specialties, and desserts, all prepared and cooked in-house with authentic Italian ingredients. Their large menu provides lots of options to personalize your order to your taste. Vegan and vegetarian options available. The Roma Deli, offering catering that is perfect for any party or business function. Go to romadeli1.com or call 845-297-1200.
Michael's Appliances presents Ask Andy, the appliance expert. Andy, what makes my oven smell so bad when I self-clean?
Self-clean, my favorite weapon in the world. Self-cleaning is a brutal environment. Most people don't think about it. They hear self-clean. I'm not really sure if they're picturing scrubbing bubbles inside there, but what's really happening is we're heating the oven up hot enough to carbonize protein. We're going to take the food stuff that's left in your stove, and we're actually going to carbonize it. We're going to turn it to dust. So we're at 700 degrees. So why does it smell bad? You're setting fire to a chicken. Today, a lot of the new stoves, because of the energy guidelines, there is no real self-clean anymore. They don't want those high temperatures. It's a huge waste of energy. It's very easy. You don't have to get on your hands and knees and your back doesn't hurt. You're not scrubbing the stove, but we use a ton of energy to clean the inside of that stove by heating it up.
Shop with the experts. Nobody knows appliances like Michael's Appliance Center, 585 East Main Street, Middletown. Online at michaelsappliance.com.
Welcome back, sports fans. After a long day of talking about everyone's favorite basketball playoff matchups, I wanted to settle down and have a discussion that we can all get frustrated about, because this situation is a little bit ridiculous. I am, of course, talking about the Nico Iamaleava situation, how the Tennessee quarterback tried to hold out on signing his contract to try and get some more money out of Tennessee, and how the Vols decided that they are not having it. That's pretty much the long and short of the situation. Iamaleava came off a 19-touchdown season, passing touchdown season last year, and it seemed like he was going to be the Vols quarterback for the foreseeable future, but now it seems like the college is just prepared to completely move on from him and do something else.
And I feel like they should. I don't think this is the place of college athletes. I really don't. This brings into the whole discussion of college sports versus professional sports. And the whole argument was, it's the culture. The guys in college don't care about money. They care about, it's all for the love of the school. And that's all just going out the window right now with all this NIL stuff going on.
Well, yeah, and I don't know why anybody is really surprised. I never got the idea that college players were, in it for the love of the game more so than any NFL player would be. I'm sure there's a spectrum for it. I'm sure there are college guys that would much prefer to get their NIL money and then dip, the same way that there are guys that will sign a big contract and then underperform until it's time to get another one, It's a spectrum. So I think attributing intent to an entire league of players is just a little bit dishonest, because, look, there are clearly guys in the college space that do it for the love of the game, but then there are guys like, Nico Iamaleava, who are just in it for the money. And it's sad because he clearly was a talented quarterback, and we're going to get into it a little bit later, but I'm not sure. He was talented, but we don't know if he was that talented. He might have overestimated his value just a little bit. But it is sad to see a guy that had a promising career just kind of throw it away like that, I'm sure that's going to look terrible for draft prospects, 3 years down the line.
And the thing is, I think this is not only an issue for football, but I think college basketball also took a hit. We saw what happened in March Madness this year. There were nearly no upsets. And while, that's just what it is, the teams are better. I think it's also attributed to all the teams in the Final Four were 1 seeds. These are the teams that have the most money in their basketball programs, that can pay their players the most NIL money. And that's making for a worse product for college basketball. And I just don't think it has a place in college sports.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's sad that it is coming to the point where the schools with all the money basically just get to win because they can pay all the best players the most amount of money. And, it's been one of the very foundational things that college sports fans have advocated for, to say that, like you said, to say that college sports are better than professional, that NCAA basketball is better than the NBA, or that college football is better than the NFL. They said it was never about the money, but now that the money is involved, all of a sudden it is about the money. It's about the business. It's about, getting a big contract. It's about putting butts in seats. And we've seen it with all this transfer portal madness. I mean, guys have no loyalty to their schools anymore. They're just going all over the place. And that's not exactly connected with the NIL money, but it definitely can be roped into this kind of new age of unloyalty in the world of college sports. And it's definitely sad to see one of the kind of core pillars of the sport itself kind of falling apart before our very eyes.
The thing is, how far does it go? It feels like at this point, at one point, we're going to see high school players having to deal with NIL, but also maybe even Little League players at this rate. Who knows?
Yeah, sorry, buddy. You can't go to your baseball game today. The coach has been holding out on us. We know that he can throw on a little more dough onto your contract. We're going to be seeing, 11-year-olds signing their NIL contracts. And I mean, look, the Vols had agreed to a contract situation with Nico since I believe this article says his junior year in high school. So they had this guy pegged for a pretty long while. So we are literally getting to that point where high schoolers are being offered big $8 million contracts. And I just think that's pretty absurd. I feel like the money is the same way that people complain about how the money corrupts the NFL or the NBA. The money is digging its feet into is digging its paws into the college football now. So that's definitely a sad situation. But the thing that college athletes should really take away from this situation the most is the reaction to, or is the school's reaction to this stunt that Iame Lieva did. No other schools have any interest in him. This guy threw away his one shot to play D1 football with the Tennessee Vols, and now he has nothing. There are no schools. He's going to have to go down and play D2 or maybe even D3 because no school wants a quarterback who's not thinking about the next play. He's thinking about his next contract. No school wants that. And I can't imagine how much money this kid has managed to screw himself out of now because he felt so entitled to that much more money.
I think it comes down to that a lot of these programs really stand by the methodology that no player is bigger than the program. And I think a lot of colleges have to stick to this.
Absolutely.
In the wake of all this NIL stuff that's going on.
I completely agree. No, the schools need to stick to their guns on this one. They cannot cave to the players because if Iame Lieva had gone to Tennessee and said, "Look, I'm not going to play unless you bump up that $2.5 million a year to $4 million a year," then where would the Vols be after that? Where would college football be after that? Setting that kind of precedent. Look, if you're Tom Brady or you're Aaron Rodgers or you're Peyton Manning, you can negotiate your contract all you want. You can say that you're worth more all you want. But this guy had 1 year of college football under his belt. He threw 19 touchdowns, and 11 of them came from teams outside of his out of his conference. So it's not like Iame Lieva is the best college prospect that we're seeing in a very long time. This guy is not a generational prospect. This guy is not a once-in-a-lifetime prospect. This guy is not even a player that the Vols need, and they know that. And no player on a college football team is a team that the program absolutely needs. That's the thing about college football. Guys are coming in and out so quickly through the programs that they don't need you. They're just going to go and get the next great high school prospect that's coming up. Because guess what? He's going to want to play for the Tennessee Vols.
Exactly. I mean, it's just kind of ridiculous, and it's just a bad sign for the sport and for the entire league of college football. But the other thing is that the transfer portal does have its strengths because now a guy like Nico is leaving. The Vols are going to be easily be able to find another quarterback prospect that actually wants to play for their team.
Absolutely, and it's definitely just going to make the process, because Tennessee could have had to be committed to Iame Lieva for the next 3 years, and that would have just been 3 years of drama and crud and all sorts of media issues and things like that. So, yes, in this case, I think the transfer portal is definitely a blessing because it allows Tennessee to get away from the guy that is causing them so many issues. And like I said, I think it's a phenomenal thing that Tennessee held their backbone and did not set that precedent because, gosh, I could not imagine the kind of world we'd be living in where college students are negotiating these $1 million contracts and holding out the same way that we see freaking divas in the NFL and the NBA. College football does not need its own divas. So I'm quite thankful that Tennessee managed to stand their ground. Anything else you want to say on that, Matt?
I just think it also is going to put in jeopardy the guarantee of great play. Like, it's just going to muddy the water of great players being able to come to the league without demanding this money and souring relationships with their college is really what it is for me.
Exactly. You want to make it to the league, keep your school happy because they're the ones that are telling the draft scouts what to think of you. You know, they'll tell you about character and about work ethic and about all these things. So keep your schools happy, kids. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's episode of Jake's Hot Takes. We thank you very much for listening. I would say make sure you tune in on Sunday, but unfortunately there will be no episode this Sunday. We will be back here, same time, same place next Thursday, only on WGNY 1220 94.5 News Talk Sports. Thank you so much for listening. I have been Jake McVey, joined by Matthew Galgano, and we will see you guys next week. Remember, no episode this Sunday. Thank you for listening, and have a wonderful rest of your day. Goodbye.